ideas we talked about this. Preparing turn, our focus on being ready at His second coming. Community for it, and we kind of dealt with hands-on, and I want to continue the idea, but parts in our mind. But there are two types of people in the world. This is just one example of this, but there are those who, when their order comes out wrong, the order that they placed, they're happy to send that order back as many times as necessary till it comes out right. Okay, all right. I hear some amens. And then there are other types of people in the world who would rather eat whatever the kitchen staff thought that they might want, so as not to have the confrontation, so as not to have to, really cause a scene or anything like that. Now, I have discovered, and I don't know how to. Somebody's. Okay, Dr. Merrill, that's all right. Oh, it's me on there. Okay. All right. I've noticed this, and I hate to inform you of this, but the older that I get, the more willing I am to go in and till they make it right. I don't know. So it might be a sign, if you're really into getting that order right, it may be a sign of your age. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. But it definitely separates the groups, because at one time I would have just said, you know what, maybe I wanted to try something new. Maybe I ought to try what they're giving me. But then the older I get, I'm like, I really didn't. I know what I want, and that ain't it. Right? And so, I don't know. I think the older we get, sometimes the grumpier we get or whatever. But imagine being God. That's going to be a stretch for you. But Israel, they're doing a lot of things in the name of worship. They're doing a lot of things that look religious. They're doing a lot of things that look like what they would call worship. And yet, if you're God, maybe He relates to that first group of people, because He would say to them and He would say to us, y'all are doing a lot of things, but that's not what I ordered. That's not what I wanted from you anyway. So we have to be very careful to then ask the question, well, God, what is it that you want? What is it? If it's not just religious people, if it's not just church, what is it that you're actually looking for? So some of you have already caught on. You know we're going to Micah chapter 6. I want to talk through Micah chapter 6, verses 6 through 8. You're going to be familiar with Micah 6, verse 8, and we'll focus a whole lot of time there. But Micah 6, verses 6 through 8 will give us a little bit of the context of what's going on. There's a discussion that's going on between God and Israel as they discuss, well, what is it exactly that God has asked of us? And so we're going to pick up with a little bit of context, but not the whole thing. But look at verse 6 with me. With what shall I come before the Lord and bow myself before God on high? Shall I come before Him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has told you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. All right, so that's Micah chapter 6, verses 6 through 8. And here's what I want us to talk through. We're not going to ditch verse 6 and verse 7, but we are going to end in verse 8. But I want us to look at one. According to this passage, what is God not looking for? What has He not ordered up that they were questioning, okay? And so here's maybe how you would sum it up in their context. Ritual worship service is not what the Lord desires. Rituals, worship services that talk big, that's not necessarily what the Lord desires. Look at verse 6 with me. What shall I come before the Lord with? How and bow myself before God on high? Shall I come before Him with burnt offerings, calves a year old?